Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 1, day 2 of Tour of Romandie. Today's stage at over 100 miles long, about 170 kilometers in length, with a solid 2 categorized climbs in the middle of today's stage and super steep category 2 climbs, so you know they're going to be pretty hard for the sprinters. And I told you guys on yesterday's Butterfly Effect, you had to be careful with Ineos possibly wanting to drill it up this climb if you're one of the pure sprinters, because they might have some difficulty going up these 2 category climbs in the middle of the stage. That'll summit with about 70, 80 kilometers to go. So it's a lot of work for Team Ineos if they want to hold off all the pure sprinters back there. Now, after that, all they really had coming up with about 51 kilometers to go, they'd start what I saw as a 2-kilometer climb at 5.5%. But it's going to be a little bit different, so keep that in mind when we get there with 51 kilometers to go. Because when the cameras come on, there's action all over the place because 3 riders are up the front and that's it. But they only have about a 20-second gap on the Ineos train behind, being led by Brandon Riviera. Now, Riviera is pulling hard. When you look back, you see the peloton's all blown up, but it's starting to come back together, with the exception of about 25 riders in the back that have all of the pure sprinters back there. Alberto Danesi is back there for DSM, Fernando Gaviria for Movistar, and Giacomo Nizzolo for Israel Premier Tech. Eli Viviani's back there for Ineos, but it's his teammate on the front that's driving it up there that's keeping this gap separated. So Ineos don't care about Eli Viviani being back there because they have Ethan Hayter in the front group, and Ethan Hayter has a good shot at winning the stage if you can get rid of the pure sprinters. Only problem is when you're really sitting up on the Chesterfield, you're wondering, Eli Viviani hasn't been winning a whole lot, but he is a pure sprinter and he used to dominate quite a bit when he's years past riding for Soudal Quickstep, but he's not on that team anymore and he hasn't been dominating like that. So Ineos' plan A is to go with Ethan Hayter up front and Brandon Riviera is driving it. Now, when I'm looking at this group of 25 back there, I'm thinking, man, are you guys just taking the week off or what? Why can you guys not get back up to this front group? Because every time the cameras fan back up to the front, it's Team Ineos, Brandon Riviera on the front. One guy pulling against 25 back there doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then with 51 kilometers to go, when they start that 5.5% 2-kilometer climb that I had on my pages, now I understand, because when you look here at the picture, you're going to see it's actually almost 4 kilometers long at about 7%. Now that changes the whole strategy, right? Because if those sprinters were chasing really hard to get back on, and you hit a 4-kilometer climb at about 7%, they're just going to come right back off. And then when you get to the top with 47 kilometers to go, there'll probably be multiple teams on the front. So I clears up that misunderstanding I had of why that group of 25 wasn't interested in closing a gap over that first 2 categorized climb on today's stage 1 of Romandie. Now it makes sense. As we see the climb and start, though, this is when we're going to see Chris Froome start to have some problems. It's curb to curb, so you know it's not going crazy fast at the front, but you see that as Chris Froome is dropping back right away, EF Education get on the front, and by the time EF Education's on the front, Chris Froome, Israel Premier Tech's already off the back in the caravans. He's going to have to hope they hold a little bit of speed back from EF Education. Now, why are they on the front? Okay, the only thing I can think of when I'm sitting up here is that they must be trying to get rid of a few more of the fast guys so they can make a sprint for Magnus Cort Nelson and possibly get rid of an Ethan Hayter up there or Ethan Vernon from Soudal Quickstep, who also have the race leader's jersey, of course, with Joseph Cherney. So with EF Education up there pulling as hard as they can, we start seeing the Bahrain Victorious rider come off the back. And this one, Johan Price, he's back there with 2 other riders. And then we see the Bahrain Victorious car come by for a real quick sticky bottle as the camera then fades down on the motorcycle and stops viewing the Bahrain Victorious Johan Price's sticky bottle to throw him back up in the back end of the peloton. Now up front, 500 meters to go. You still see it's EF Education on the front as the hill starts to dip a little bit. Certainly that's what the Bahrain Victorious director was telling Johan. Just hold on to the bottle for 1 second. I'll give you a little swing. And then in 500 meters, you're going to have a little dip. And then 500 meters up to the KOM. Now we're going to see Trek Segafredo come through the KOM with Julian Bernard and with Kenny Elizon. After that, EF Education are back on the front, status quo, pulling all the way down the descent. Now, once we get into the bottom part here around the lake, we're going to see Chris Froome made his way back in. So the caravan was a little bit friendly to multiple riders back here on this stage 1 of Tour of Romandie. With that in mind, the whole peloton's together, minus that 25 guys back there in the sprint train group back there that has no interest of fighting to get back up here on the front. Rightly so, now that I understand there was multiple climbs in today's stage 1 of Romandie. Now up front, we're going to start seeing Soudal Quickstep get up there, and they're helping with EF Education. And then with 25 kilometers to go, Lotto Destiny hop on the front. Now they have a very quality sprinter with Milan Minton, who won Lisa Men, one of the Belgium semi-classics earlier in the season. And they believe they got a chance here with Minton winning today's stage 1. So all of a sudden we see Thomas de Hint up front, Dries Devenin from Soudal Quickstep, and Mark Padon from EF Education. 3 riders pulling hard. We come into 17 kilometers to go. Jumbo Visma are going to throw in a big, hard attack here for what seems to be the time bonus sprint line. Well, we're going to get a little clarification on that because Jumbo Visma's going full gas, and as they started their acceleration, look back there at the Soudal Quickstep rider quickly on his radio telling his guys, get to the front immediately. We do not want another Algarve stage here where they're going for the sprint line time bonus and then they keep going all the way to the finish. So let's pay attention. Let's get up there. They got a rider right away up there with Jumbo Visma as Jumbo Visma's Foss comes flying through to win the sprint line. Only problem is there is no bonus in today's, no time bonus in today's stage 1 because there are no time bonuses here at Tour of Romandie with the exception of the finish line. So if you're first, second, or third on the stage, you get time bonuses, but you don't get time bonuses for the sprint line at 16 kilometers to go, even though Tobias Foss put in a really impressive display. Now, while that was happening, the cameras go back to the sprinter group back there, about 25 guys, and they're stopped on the road. You see the official right there with the motorcycle waving the hands all over the place. Finally, they'll start rolling off to the right. I don't know why they stopped him. The commentators don't know why they stopped him either because it looks like it's the correct way to go to the right as you see the signs there dictating the roadmap. Now, with that in mind, that 25 guys, they're not going to get back up to this front group, of course. So let's go back to the peloton as things are starting to get excited with about 10 kilometers to go. It's curb to curb. We're coming now under 6, 7, and 5 kilometers to go. And every time the cameras fade back, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Ineos riders at the back of the field here with 5 kilometers to go. Now remember, they're the ones who split this field all up going up the beginning of the climbs here mid-stage that blew all those sprinters off. And I'm thinking, man, this is a little bit ways back, but okay, the group's a little smaller than normal. Not too small, but a little smaller. And up front, we see it's curb to curb like crazy. 4 kilometers to go, and of course it's Remy Cavagna, Soudal Quickstep, who gets a little gap. He looks back, and I don't know if he meant to make this happen or not, but with the gap behind on his wheel, of course Remy Cavagna gets on the throttle right away, and then it's Sobrero from Jaco Alula that'll bring back the French rider quickly. After that, it's 3.3 kilometers to go, and this is when we see the race leader, Joseph Cherney, get on the front. He's drilling it on the front, going into the right tight turn that's coming up, and we see it's his teammates directly on his wheel. Right there, second wheel, Casper Pedersen there, and then, of course, we see Ethan Vernon, their sprinter for Soudal Quickstep. Look just a little bit further back, and Ineos have got themselves in the right position here with the right turn at at just under 3 kilometers to go, 2.8, I believe. Now, next up, the technical difficulty is going to be the roundabout here. And again, you see Joseph Cherney's doing a fantastic job for his sprinter, second wheel behind his. Now he's going solid up front, keeping his guys out of trouble as he knows he's got one teammate left behind him and then his sprinter third position. Now we see the island comes up, gets a little bit crazy there as it narrows up, but most of the peloton will decide to have to go to the right, and then a few guys are going to the left. Now things are getting interesting because when we look fourth wheel, we're going to see it's Milan Minton just behind the Soudal Quickstep train. Now, as we're coming into just about 2 kilometers to go, and 2 Lotto riders, Harry Sweeney's coming over the top from the left, and we look with the Quick-Step riders, and then with Milan Minton sitting there on Ethan Vernon's wheel where he wants to be because he believes that's the fastest sprinter left in today's stage 1. So Minton's in perfect position, but Harry Sweeney's going to come from the left side, And then Sylvain Monique, Lotto Soudal's coming also from the left, but that's pulling a bunch of guys with him. And now when you look at the picture, there, Menton, he's getting really pushed back and he's against the curb fighting for position. Now we're coming into just under 2K to go, about 1.6 I believe. As the road starts to open up, Milan Menton has to do a big hit to get himself out of the trouble, as there's a little driveway or opening in the road there. We see him just miss the curb, start on a big time acceleration. He's only got about 2-3 pedal strokes worth of effort, and then he can go hard to the left. When he does, he has to bump shoulders with the Albacine de Koenig rider, but now he's back up into good position and again on the Soudal quick step train. Up front, Harry Sweeney still going fast. Now all of a sudden we start getting under the 1.4 kilometers to go. That's when Harry Sweeney at the front for Lotto Soudal, he's going a little bit slow. There's going to feel a little bit of a rush coming from behind. So Pedersen knows he has to throw in an acceleration. He looks back, knows he's got a sprinter on his wheel, throws in a bit of an acceleration to the right. Only problem is for the Lotto Destiny rider back there, Milan, he's been trying to follow, of course, with their sprinter, Ethan Vernon, but now he's getting squeezed off. Look just in front of him to the left of him. That's his teammate, Sylvain Monique, who brought everybody over and squeezed him off originally. Now as he's getting squeezed behind again, it's his teammate, and he's bumping with his teammate there. Has to hit the brakes a little bit, back off, go around the Bahrain victorious rider and his own teammate, and then he'll hit out hard again to the right. Now, while he's doing that, we're getting under 1 kilometer to go, and Milan Menton has wasted tons of effort here for Lotto Destiny rider, as he's been put in bad situations multiple times from his teammate. But he finds his way back up to Soudal Quickstep again, and he's still in the fight to win here at stage 1. Now all of a sudden we're coming under 1K to go. UAE team members are at the front. Casper Pedersen still has his teammate Ethan Vernon in a fantastic position. We see at about 9:75 as it's up front. Bjerg, who's done pulling for UAE team members, he'll wave his teammates through, and when he does, now we got to see that Casper Pedersen has to do another big acceleration for his sprinter Ethan Vernon behind on his wheel. Now with about 500 meters to go, DSM start coming up to the foe with Olney. Olney's doing a fantastic job up front. We look a little further back because I'm like, why is Olney at the front? Well, Bardet's up here trying to give himself a run for the money to see if he can get him some time bonuses here for DSM and move him up on the general classification. We're coming under 400 meters to go now, and Casper Pedersen realizes that he's got to do a little bit of work. He does some more jumping out into the wind. This will start his acceleration for the sprint line. He'll pull for just about 50-75 meters alongside Oliveira, who's up front now driving it for UAE team Emirates. Now when Oliveira moved out hard to the right and put some pressure there on Casper Pedersen, Pedersen just looked over. I'm like, what are you even doing here? And that's the same thing I'm wondering. What is Oliveira doing up here at the sprint? Well, he's doing a fantastic job either way. And then all of a sudden we see Casper Pedersen, he's had enough of all this and he starts his sprint. With that sprint, big time acceleration, he'll do maybe only about 50-75 meters, and then all of a sudden we see Vernon behind him. He'll switch back over to the UAE Team Emirates rider Oliveira as he stays there for about another 100 meters. Now with 175 meters to go, this is when Ethan Vernon's had enough and he accelerates hard to the right, gets a gap on everyone and solos in for a magnificent sprint finish win here at stage 1 of Tour of Romandie. Behind, what happened? Trek Segafredo Nice, he came through for second, pounding on the bars because the kid was all upset about getting second here, but he didn't have any chance at the win because Casper Pedersen was doing an excellent job of navigating all the damage and all the chaos happening behind for Ethan Vernon, who didn't have to do anything till 175 meters ago when he started acceleration. Third place on the stage, Milan Menton held off Romain Bardet. But if you look at Milan Menton's chaos finish here, I'm talking about having his teammates pull the whole field around in front of him, putting him in bad position, having to fight out through basically what was a driveway worth of space and 2 pedal strokes to accelerate back up to the front, then having to bump with his teammate Monique again as he got trapped. Back again in the wind at around 900 meters to go. Spent some time bumping with Ethan Vernon with under 800 meters to go and still managed to get a podium finish here at stage 1. Man, Milan Minton from Lotto Destiny, you did a fabulous ride here on stage 1. But Ethan Vernon's ride was just well dictated the whole time from his teammate Casper Pedersen, and with the help of the race leader's jersey, Joseph Cherney for Pseudo Quickstep. Those guys did a fantastic job all the way from 3.3K into the finish here at stage 1, and definitely deserved the victory for Pseudo Quickstep. Now with that victory, that'll put him up on the podium in the race leader's yellow jersey, because he tied on time with his teammate who won yesterday's individual time trial and also let him out on today's finish here of stage 1. So Pseudo Quickstep will change jerseys in the team, but we'll keep the race leader's jersey here going into stage 2 of Tour of Romandie. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Today was a great stage. I even saw Egan Bernal up there with just under 2 kilometers to go, right up there at the front. So it looks like the Colombian has some good legs here at Tour of Romandie. We'll see pretty soon. One more semi-mountainous stage tomorrow. Should be one for not exactly the top GC guys that are going to win, but we could see a battle between them. But we're definitely going to see some fighting against more of the climbers here in tomorrow's stage 2. And then we have another individual time trial waiting for us on stage 3 here of Tour of Romandie. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next edition real soon.